Well, thank you for renting our RV. We appreciate the opportunity to help you, and so we've created this video to walk you around the RV, hopefully to expedite the checkout process, and then something that you can refer back to as you're out on the road. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to talk about the outside of the RV first. So let's walk back here. We're going to start back on this side of the RV and work our way around the outside, and then we'll work through the inside. But the first thing that we've got here is this large storage. Now this one hasn't been cleaned out. It'll be cleaned out for you. But this is where your large storage bin is going to be. This is for camp chairs, awnings, tables, things like that. This slides all the way through underneath the master bed. And so this is a pretty deep area, a lot of storage unit. There's a light here on the side as well that you can turn on and off. But this is pretty self-explanatory and straightforward. You'll also find in this cubby, we'll leave the leveling ramps as well as the jack stand platforms in the RV so that you could use those as you park it at your campsite. As we work our way around here, you'll also see in the front of the RV, this is the freshwater fill-up. So if you are dry camping, or if you're not going to be hooked up to water wherever you're going, you can fill this tank full of water, and this is the port to do it. Go ahead and fill it all the way up till you see water coming out of the air hole here, and you know the tank's full. You can also check the levels inside. And then here's the gas tank. So this gas tank feeds both the motor for the coach as well as the generator. And so as you look at the levels of the gas tank, whether it be by the generator or in the front of the dashboard, this is the one tank and it's going to run both of those motors for you. Under here is an additional storage cubby. This is where we keep stove and some pots and pans and things like that. These things we'll probably just keep leaving in the camper if you need them. If you don't want them and if you want the storage, we'll pull these out. But there's a Coleman stove in here as well. Outlets. So when you're plugged in to power at an RV site, you'll have these outlets that are available that you can plug things into as well. They'll also work when the generator is on as well. But without the generator on or without being plugged in, these outlets are useless. This is the back of the fridge. You shouldn't have to worry about this, but this would be the back of the fridge if we needed to get in and light a pilot light or something. But you shouldn't really have to worry about that. Here is the propane. So this is the turn on and turn off the propane tank. And then this is the fill up. So to fill that up, again, you're going to go to a service station. They'll fill this up. They'll get it pressurized. But this is the access point. The thing that you need to be concerned about is this is off to the right. This is on to the left for the propane tank. Here in the front part of the coach, there's another large storage bin in here. This actually has a slide access for the inside stairwell. If you want to put shoes in here, you can do that. Also has a light. Another great spot right off the front porch for storage. Okay, great. One other point I wanted to make is on your keychain, you'll have a couple of these keys. These keys are to unlock all the cubbies on the outside. So there's one key that fits all of these cubbies. The next cubby here is really for service access. So don't worry about this. Don't even worry about opening this one. And then lastly, up front here, you're going to have another storage bay that you can utilize as well. This is one that I'll put a lot of our, when we go on trips, we'll put oil and some of the mechanical things that we may need in here as well. So that covers most of this side. The last thing I'll show you on this side of the coach is the television. So there's an outdoor television tucked away underneath this cubby. The remote control is sitting right in here. My wife has labeled this as TV number 2, and the remote on there also says outdoor TV remote, so that you can see that and refer to that when you need to. This TV is not hooked up to anything as far as cable or satellite. That's all part of the system. If you hook into an RV site, there's a port in the back that we'll go over that you can hook into a satellite system or a cable system, and then you can watch cable TV. But it does have over-the-air antenna. But additionally, we have put in this HDMI cable, and there's actually 2 of them plugged in here that you could hook up a DVD player to, or any of your other devices. So there's an HDMI cable already plugged in. The cables are tucked away right here. If you use them, please wind them back up, tie them back up so they're not flopping all over. So that's for the HDMI for the outdoor TV. Okay, now we're on the other side of the RV. This is the driver's side. The first cubby you're going to come to on the bottom here is the generator. Okay, so everything's fully enclosed. This is a 4,000 watt Cummins generator. You should not need to access this. If you do, for whatever reason, this comes undone here and slides out. There's an outside start to the generator here. In order to start the generator, you prime it, so you would push the stop prime, wait for the light to turn on. Once it's turned on, it's ready to go. So here's the access to the inside. You shouldn't need to get in here at all. You can close the door. Lock those down. The other interesting thing I want to make sure I point out on the generator is the exhaust pipe. If you notice, the exhaust pipe sticks out from the unit a little bit. So as you're pulling up to a curb, or if you're in rocks for whatever reason by a campground, sometimes they have stalls marked off by rocks. Just be careful of that low point, the side point of the RV. So as we move past the generator, this is just to show you where it's at. You won't necessarily ever need to get into this cubby. You can start the generator from the inside, and that's the normal thing to do, is to start it from the inside. This is the access point for the generator. The next thing we have here is another large storage cubby. Here's where we'll keep the gray water hose. And so we've got a 100-foot gray water hose sitting in here for drainage out of the gray water if you need that. If you're not, if you're dry camping, or if you don't have access to an RV dump for the gray water, this is one way to drain that. As well as some wheel chocks and some additional levelers for this side of the RV unit. Another storage unit, or another storage compartment here. This one, please be very, very careful. This is some of the electrical I guess wire work for the kitchen above and the pump. So just be careful of these loose wires as you put things in and out of this cubby. Now while we're on this side too, if we move up, this is the water heater. Again, water heater should already be lit, should automatically light. so you should not have to access this, but the water heater is inside of here. If you're at an RV spot and they have water, this is where you would connect the water for the RV park. This will pressurize. You won't need to run the pump once the water is hooked up this way. And so that's where that goes. With that same key, outdoor key, you can also access the outdoor shower. So this is a great spot if you're muddy or dirty and you want to be able to wash off before you get into the RV. This is a great spot to be able to wash off without having to get the shower inside all dirty and messed up. So there's the outdoor shower. Here's our drain outlet. We're going to go over this in more detail, but this is where we do the gray water and the black tank dump, as well as clean out those tanks when we're finally done with using the RV. So we'll go over this in more detail last segment. As I made mention, this is the coaxial connection. So if you're in an RV park and there's cable or satellite hookup, this is where you would hook it up. And then the final cubby is back here. Back here is where you're going to see the electrical cable. It's hardwired in. There's a port back here that has a screw-on stop there, but you can feed, when you're at an RV park and you're wanting to hook up the power, you feed this through the hole, hook it up to the RV and power connection, and you're good to go. When you're finished, obviously pull that back in, make sure you've secured the cap before you start to travel, and then you're off and running. So that's the electrical hookup part. Obviously you can put a few more things in there if you need some additional storage. And then the last compartment is where the black water hose is for the black water tank. When we go over the drain, we'll talk about this, but that's where you're going to find the black water hose. That's the outside. All right, one other angle I wanted to make sure I mentioned is I just wanted to show you the top of the RV. So notice that we have a much higher profile even than what you can see from the bottom, with the AC unit on top and the antenna and other things, the skylights. Wanted to make mention that as you're driving the RV, make sure you look ahead, look for overhanging branches, look for things that might be able to hit those things on top. As you can see, there's a couple feet above just the roof of the cab that you have to be aware of. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. You can see obviously that that would be detrimental if you came into a big branch there.